Hey, what's up guys? This is Brian at Whisper Status 74. Welcome to the community, welcome to the channel. If this is the first time you are seeing me, please consider liking and subscribing. We're real tech for real people. Today's video is going to be about the sudden drop of the 77-inch A80j Sony Oled 2021 model, which is actually releasing this week, has begun shipping last week. I will see it at the end of this week at Value Electronics with Robert Zahn. We'll be presenting the 77-inch for the channel. It has dropped over $1,000, and many of you are very concerned about the sudden price drop. There's also been a couple price drops in regards to the Sony A90j Master Series, and some of you guys are concerned that you may have overpaid or something is wrong with the panels, and I'm here to talk about that today. Alright guys, welcome to the video. I hope everybody is doing well today. The discussion today, again, as I mentioned in the intro, is the A80j OLED, which is going to be an amazing OLED in this year's lineup for them, as last year's A80H was in a weird spot, not having a 77-inch and also not having a 48-inch, while also having the A9G kind of breathing down its neck. Both those panels are still available. We'll show you the pricing for both the A80H, the A9G, and the A9S on Value Electronics website. But the one I want to talk about that's got some of you guys a little bit nervous is the A80J. And the pricing between the C1, the G1, and I'll show you in a second, I'll put it up on the screen, the original launch prices for the A80J. The A80J was $4,000 something. You'll see it on the screen right now, and I'll read you the current prices. We'll also go on Value Electronics website and show you the prices, and we'll discuss a little further there. The A80J, the A90J being a Master Series, is their flagship. It is still 4K. It is brighter. They both have the new processor. The A80J is going to be an improvement over last year's models. I think it's going to, in my opinion, I think it's going to be the one most people buy, very much like the C1. But from what I can gather, and even discussing this with Robert, is first we have to kind of calm the fears that it's a bomb, or calm the fears that something is wrong with both the A90J or the A80J. I'm already seeing that in the comments. Something must be wrong with it. It dropped $1,000. Now, both Robert and I were speaking that typically, or it's not uncommon for a panel to drop $500–600 in the first few months, maybe $1,000 between 3 and 4 months. However, to have it drop $1,000 while it's in the process of launching is extremely, extremely rare, which is some of you guys concerned. Now, speaking with Robert, those of you that ordered an A80J from Value Electronics have already been readjusted to the new price. If you'd ordered from a larger retailer, that same thing should have happened. However, if it doesn't happen, all you have to do is contact Best Buy. Amazon typically does it automatically, but Best Buy, they will simply credit you the money back, the price difference. This isn't a case of being an early adopter and the price dropped a few months later. That would be something you'd be stuck with because you would be out of your return window. However, this is unprecedented that it's dropping while it's launching. I mentioned that we'll be there Friday filming Robert and the 77-inch A80J. We're going to go over it. We'll show you the style of it, show you how it looks compared to the A90 and the C1. We'll be there to film that, but it's just a little bit crazy to see it drop $1,000 before I even see it, before it's even in his store. His allocation comes in Thursday. He's been able to ship a few of them as of, I believe, last week. But again, those clients have already been adjusted with this current price. Now, I'm going to very professionally, on a piece of paper, show you the prices and the differences, and then we'll go on the website. So the original price of the A80J at 65 inches is $2,800 and is now $2,499. So $2,800 to $2,500. The $300 price difference isn't something crazy. The 55-inch, I'll show you when we go on the website, but the 77-inch has dropped from $4,500 to $3,500, and change. Talking about $1,000 price drop. And the A9S Master Series is being brought over from last year at 49 inches. That's dropped from $2,000 to $1,700. The A80j at 55 inches is now $14.99. The 65 inch is $22.99. The A90j has dropped in the 55 inch range from $3,000 to $27.99. The 65 inch from $4,000 to $37.99. The 83-inch is still going to be $8,000. That won't drop for some time, but we never know. That might drop somewhat upon its release, similar to what you're seeing with the A80j. But in my opinion, there is no cause for alarm. Nothing is wrong with these panels. Master Series typically don't go on sale, period, for a very, very long time. But we are in different times. There are constraints as far as supply. Things aren't being shipped on time. LG came out with a very aggressive price of the C1, which is in effect cheaper than the CX upon its launch by quite a bit. So LG has this full core press of the B series, the CX, the C1, the GX, the G1. They also have the A series coming out. So they're kind of clogging every price point, leaving Sony in a weird spot, having the A80H that doesn't have HDMI 2.1, an older processor, as well as the A9G, leaves them kind of naked compared to LG's lineup, which even last year does have HDMI 2.1, has a lot of the modern parts to it. So I feel like Sony is kind of clogging that with their A80j, bringing that out at a very, very aggressive price point, undercutting the C1 to a degree, especially at 77 inches. Now, the original price of the, as I mentioned, the A80 was $1,000, almost $1,000 more than the C1 at 77 inches. So they in fact have changed that. But don't be concerned. There's nothing wrong with these panels. They're still going to be amazing. It's just now is a buying frenzy. Still, people are still home. People are still buying their panels. Things are in short supply. Now, why you won't see a certain price drop on other panels, for instance, in Sony's own lineup with the 950H from last year, they really can't drop it as the X95 isn't out yet. So why drop that? I believe the A80H and the A9G, they're going to clean out that inventory and then just go very aggressive with the A80J and plan on selling those the most. The A90J, yes, you've seen a small price drop. It was priced very aggressively. You'll see as we go to the prices on the website that you can get a 77-inch A80J cheaper than an A90J, which I would go for all day long. But the Master Series has a certain prestige to it. It has better build quality. Not to mention this year, it's also brighter, but it has a certain legacy to it, as well as having better sound options, which is why the A9S Master Series from last year is still rather expensive. You're paying for that build quality, sound, and that prestige. So now we're going to go back behind me. We'll go on to Value Electronics website. I've already cross-checked them. They are in line with Best Buy. Actually, the A9G is slightly cheaper at 65 inches on this website. I've already cross-checked it with Best Buy and Amazon. We'll go through it together, talk about it a little bit, but I'm here to calm you down, to let you know that no one got taken. You know, it's a $1,000 price drop. Those of you that bought from Value Electronics, you are protected. But those of you that bought from other retailers, regardless, you're going to be fine. This panel has barely launched at 77 inches. Now, those of you that bought the smaller sizes, a few $100 price drop. If you're not within your return window, those prices are going to stand. But $1,000 is unprecedented. And it's just an aggressive move that Sony needed to do to slow down LG with this mass amount of displays from last year and this year. Let's go check out the website. All right, guys, here we are on Value Electronics website. Here is the number if you want to call and speak to Robert. But here we are on Sony OLEDs. Click on that. And the way they have their Sony OLEDs lined up versus how they have LG's, we can see here that we have the 55-inch, $2,299. The previous price to that was, what was the previous price to that? Was Oh, it is the same price, actually. The Sony 55-inch didn't drop at all. That's why I didn't have it up here. The 60, now here's the 55-inch A90J, which is down from $3,000, as they have here on the website. But what I like about what they're showing you here is they're showing you the differences in price, that the A80J is down a little bit. And what that does is it shows you that they were essentially close in price between 55 and 65 A80J, A90J. Now you can clearly see that you can get a larger A80J for cheaper than the 55-inch. As we go down here, if the 65-inch A90J is down a few $100s from, 39, almost 4,000 to 38. Now you have the 65 and the 55-inch AAH here at $1,499 and $2,000. And what you're seeing too is, again, comparing sizes is you got to be careful. Sometimes these prices get very close together. So if you are eyeing an AAH, keep an eye on the A80J. Now the AAH may drop even farther, but that's where you're playing that that game of inventory running out, which can be dicey. If you have a A9G or an AAH at the same price of these modern panels, I would go with the modern panels, not just for HDMI 2.1, but for the new cognitive processor, which I think is a pretty big jump up. Now here's the big drop here, and why I wanted to show you this, guys, on the website is you have Sony A80J at $3,500 versus a 65-inch A90J at $3,800. Now I'm going to see these side by side at Value Electronics, as I mentioned, Friday, but I do not feel anywhere near that. I would always go with this larger panel, just because you have amazing quality versus amazing quality, a bit brighter. But I imagine the A80J, from what I'm hearing from early users, that it's pretty bright as well. So I think it's a win-win all around. You're just going to be paying a bit more for, like I mentioned, the prestige of the Master Series lineup. Now going down a bit further, again, we show you the 55-inch AAH. Where I like this price point, though, is that you're talking about a very quality OLED for, a good price. That's what's good. The OLEDs have become affordable just about for everybody now, where they were just so untouchable for the longest period of time. Now, the 65-inch A9G is down slightly, but to look at the price of a panel that is nearly $3,000 and is that old versus, a 77-inch brand new panel, it's where you get a little bit dicey here. But now you're looking at here, the 77-inch A9G is, again, very similar to the price. It's almost it's the exact same price, as a matter of fact. That's a hard call. As much as the A9G is a legendary OLED, it is one of the best OLEDs ever made. It's getting a little bit older at this point. And here again, HDMI 2.1, and you have the brand new cognitive processor. It's not a Master Series. So if Master Series is important to you, the A90J is going to be the only way to go. I would wait a bit more to see if this A9G will come down a bit more. I should show you the 77-inch a bit more, because having the C1 and G1 priced so aggressively, it puts it in a really weird spot. And then lastly, you actually have is it still up here? Yeah, the A9S Master Series. This is basically a baby A9G. It is 48 inches. You can see that on our channel, as Value Electronics lent that panel to me for about 4 months. Loved it. Gorgeous out of the box. Why you're seeing this expensive, it's down a few $100s, as again, it is a Master Series. They're basically calibrated at the factory. And what's interesting is you look at the 55-inch AAH being more expensive. There is a value to the small form factor of these OLEDs. Even the LGs are expensive at this size, and you don't have another one of these this year. So it is kind of a rarity. Better sound, better build quality, absolutely gorgeous panel. So that's the lineup. Like again, you're comparing this to the C1, the CX, the BX, the G1, the GX. So Sony really was priced very aggressively initially. We'll put those prices back up so you can see them quickly. And, you know, this is something that is unprecedented, but we are in unprecedented times. You have constraints. You have, again, you have... Just to put it into context, I was scheduled to go to Value Electronics 3 weeks ago to film the 77-inch A80j, and we were pushed back. They're not getting them till Thursday. Now, he was able to ship them nationwide last week to ship a few pieces, but typically, you know, these would be out for a few months before you'd see any substantial price drop. Sony's lineup is very impressive. What I like about what they're doing is kind of having a unified front here. Going forward, there won't be the delineation of HDMI 2.1 to hold their other models back. If you have an A80H and an A9G, they're still amazing and gorgeous panels, but it's been very hard for people to buy one or the other with these panels looming. Do I expect the A90J to drop at 83 inches? I really don't expect it to drop very far. And again, if you do purchase the A90J at 77, it is not out yet. When it is out, we'll film that as well. But if it drops, you'll be protected again during your return window from any retailer. But, you know, you have to know when you're buying high-end, as we said in our last tech therapy video, is you are paying as an early adopter. If you're a few months ahead, that's understandable, but not as the panel is launching. And all that really tells me to tell you guys in short is they put their prices out. They were very expensive. Then they saw LG's prices, how aggressive they were, and they adjusted accordingly, thus undercutting the C1 and CX. And the fact that the CX and C1 are so close in terms of quality, as well as having the same feature set, meaning 4 HDMI 2.1 inputs, means that they're interchangeable, where there's a clear difference between the A80H and the A80J. They had to do something, and they did it by being very aggressive here. All right, guys, that is my video on the large price drop. There is no worries about anything wrong with these panels. They're absolutely amazing. You'll see them again this Friday. You'll see that in the showroom. I would buy any of them. I think they're gorgeous. But again, the biggest change is going to be HDMI 2.1 and the new processor. And Sony did change, as far as I'm concerned, last minute and just get very aggressive to attack LG straight on. All right, guys, have a great day. I will see you in the comments. Love you guys. Take care.